Hi everyone! I will be discussing to you what are the things that we know about Part 2 Unit 3, the early childhood, the preschooler. So, before that, I will be introduce myself. I, Lastimosokay, BP Ed A student. So let's begin with the preschooler physical development. The preschool years is also known as the year before forming schooling begins. It covers 3 to 5 years old. As toddlers, they begin to establish some independence. However, adults or parents would play an important role to help them scope knowledge and experience the environment they deserve. At this stage, the child achieves several milestones in life, which also serve as a basic foundation of learning and development. As achieving some milestone in life, the child will also develop the ability on how to behave in social and responsible ways. But this is also depend on the guidance of the parents. Significant changes in physical growth. At this stage, preschools move from the remaining baby life features forward a more slender appearance of a child. The child of about this stage has its center of gravity at the lower level, right at the belly bottom, which make it easier for them to balance themselves. The remaining baby life features toward a more slender appearance of a child. Slender implies a generally attractive and pleasing thinness. Thus, the child's body become more stronger and gain some muscles. At this stage of around 5 to 6 years, it is the best time to learn skills which requires balance such as biking and skiing. Their building physical skills must also expand their play. The child may enjoy riding a bike without training wheels, jump rope, or play more complex games. Their building physical skills may also expand play. Your child must enjoy riding a bike without training wheels, jump rope, or complex games. So when it comes to our locomotor, are skills which involve going from one place to another, like walking, running, climbing, escaping, hopping, creeping, and galloping. However, the non-locomotor are the skills wherein the child stays in place, like bending, stretching, turning, and swaying. So when it comes to manipulative skills, one of the other hand are skills involve projecting and receiving objects like throwing, bouncing, sketching, and dribbling. Fine motor development is refers to acquiring the ability to use smaller muscles in arms, hands, and fingers purposefully. Fine motor skills are the ability to make movements using the small muscles in our hands and wrists. Kids use fine motor skills to do many schools in related tasks. Let's talk about the preschoolers' artistic development. When it comes to preschool's artistic development, at the heart of the preschool years is their interest to draw and to make their forms of artistic expressions. Children at this stage of artistic development are beginning to see connections between the shapes they draw and physical world around them. Circles and lines may be described as persons or objects that are physically present in the child's life. So next, let's talk about the preschoolers' nutrition and sleep. When it comes to preschoolers' nutrition and sleep, preschoolers need about 11 to 12 of sleep each day, which include a nap. The wiggle room about exact sleep time, because the important thing is to help kids develop good, consistent habit in getting to sleep. It's important for preschoolers to get a sufficient amount of rest and sleep. They benefit for about 10 to 12 hours of sleep each day. So this is the continuation about the topic, the early childhood of preschoolers, which is the cognitive development of preschoolers. And the preschoolers have two types, which is the symbolic and the intuitive thinking. So first is the symbolic sub-stage. The preschooler or preschool children show progress in their cognitive abilities by being able to draw objects that not present, by their dramatic increase in their language and make believe. So symbolic substage is when children are able to understand, represent, remember and pictures objects in their mind without having an object in front of them. So when it comes to intuitive substage, preschool children begins to use primitive reasoning and ask a litany of questions. So meaning of intuitive substage, when children realize that they have a vast amount of knowledge. So guys, let's proceed to the brain connections in the preschool years. Brain connections is the preschool years. Brain research has also pointed out the crucial role of the environment. Experts have shown specific areas of brain activity that respond to environment stimulation. Brain connections enable us to move, think, communicate, and do just about everything. The early childhood are crucial for making this connection. Guys, let's proceed for the language development. Children language development becomes increasingly complex in the four main areas. There are four types, which is the phonology, semantics, syntax, and pragmatics. So when it comes to phonology is study of the movement the body goes through in order to create a sound. So when it comes to semantics, it is study of meaning language. It can be applied to entire text or single words. Also, syntax is the order or arrangement of words and phrases from proper sentences. Lastly, pragmatism refers to show words are used in a practical sense. So guys, let's proceed to the language and social interactions. Vygotsky believed that young children use language both to communicate socially and to plan, guide, and monitor their behavior in a self-regulatory fashion, inner speech or private speech. It means that Vygotsky claimed that children perform and uses language not only. ZPD captures the preschooler children's cognitive skills that are in the process of maturing. So, the zone of proximal development, or the ZPD, refers the difference between what a learner can do without helping and what he or she can achieve with guidance and encouragement from the skilled partner. Let's proceed for information processing theory, attention, and memory. Information processing model is the only way of examining. So, information processing model is a way of examining and understanding how children develop cognitively, and it conceptualizes children's mental process through the metaphor of a computer processing, encoding, storing, and decoding data. Means that the information processing model is a framework used by cognitive psychologists to explain and describe mental processes. The model, like the thinking processes to how a computer works. So guys, we are here about the young children's theory of mind. For me, understanding that people don't care the same thoughts and feelings as you do developing during childhood. And it's called theory of mind. Another way of thinking about is a child's ability to tune in other people's perspectives. This ability doesn't emerge overnight and it develops in a predictable order. There are four perspectives language of what preschool can do. First is the 3 to 5-year-old standard. The child is able to understand both verbal or non-verbal forms of communications. It means this includes understanding verbally or non-verbal like hand gestures and body motions. Second is pre-math or matching standards. The child is able to match identical objects, colors, shapes, and symbols. It means that it is when children able to know different shapes and other mathematical basic terms. Class is the pre-reading and pre-math or copying letters and numbers. The child is able to recite the alphabet and numbers in sequence. It means when a child can sing the alphabet and they recite the number sequence. So guys, let's proceed to the domain cognitive development. Attention and activities level 4 to 5 or 5 to 6 years old. The child is able to sustain attentions and modulate his activities at age-expected levels. It means being able to choose comfort activities and choose friends, for example. Next is a high order mental abilities or concepts information. Standard 1. The child develops basic concepts pertaining to objects, constancy, space, time, quantity, duration, etc. and uses this as a basic for understanding how materials are categorized in his or her environment. For me, it is when child begins to form concepts, objects, people, and actions. And next, high-ordered mental abilities, cause and effect relationship. Memory, episodic memory, 2 to 3-year-old. Standard, the child is able to recall people he has met, events, places he has been to. It means that children would be able to remember certain events and people they met. So memory for concepts-based knowledge, semantic memory. To the age 3 to 6 years old, the child is able to store verbal informations in short or long-term memory. It means that the child could memorize informations. So next is the high-ordered mental disabilities, logical reasoning. The child is able to follow the logic of events and draw accurate conclusions by evaluating the facts presented to him. It means that the child would be able to evaluate and question facts and the things around him or her. So next is the high-ordered mental abilities, planning and organizing. At the age of 3 to 5 years old, a child is able to plan and organize simple, familiar activities. It means that being able to plan, ask for suggestions, and willing to be guided at the children's stage here. Next is the high-ordered mental abilities, creative thoughts. At the age of 3 to 6 years old, the child is able to generate new ideas or concepts or new associations between existing ideas or concepts. It means that children would be able to build their own plans and create their own ideas. And lastly, high-ordered mental abilities, cognitive flexibility. At the age 2 to 3 years old, a child is able to shift to more adaptive cognitive processing strategies in order to effectively deal with new and unexpected conditions in his or her environment, including problems, standard situations. It means that the child would be able to undergo problem solving. I will give you 3 tips of how they practice the cognitive development skills for preschoolers at the age of 3 to 5 years old. First is speak them children as often as possible. Number 2, Add new information to your children's sentences. Number 3, teach children to memorize the first name and the last name. As a 5 years old, I will give you three tips. First is add drama to your reading sessions each day by using different voices for different characters. Number 2, ask 5 years old to tell a story. And lastly, tip number 3, ask them what if questions. So guys, this is the last discussion about the early childhood of preschoolers, which is the social-emotional development of the preschoolers. At this period of social-emotional development, children are spending less time in the home. The bulk of their time is spent outside at home, either alone or with other children rather than with adults. So socio-emotional development is one of the most widely recognized characters of this period is the acquisition of feelings of self-competence. Second is the Erik Erikson industry versus inferiority. They must likely employ more soul comparison, distinguish themselves from others, and dealing with other children, they show increased perspective taking. Perspective taking enables children to first is to judge others' intentions, purposes, and actions, and then give importance to social attitudes and behaviors, and to increase skepticism of others' claims. And also other milestone in this stage is the development of the children of emotions intelligence or EQ, which involves ability to monitor feelings of oneself and others, use this to guide and motivate the children's behavior. And so let's talk about the emotional intelligence. Has 4 main areas, which is development emotional self-awareness, managing emotions or self-control, reading emotions or perspective taking, and handling emotions or resolve problems. So in emotional development, there are 7 things that we know. First is positivity, caring environment, praise and encouragement, all experience success, use of role models, success in meeting challenges, and lastly, feeling of self-worth and mood swings. Which is the building friendships. As a child go through their late childhood, the time they spend in peer interactions increase for them to good peer relationships are very important. The approval and belongingness they receive to contribute to the stability and security of their emotional development. And at this stage, children refers to belong to same sex peer groups. There are 5 types of peer status, which is number 1 is a popular. So means that frequently nominated as the best friends, and one who is rarely disliked by peers. So number 2 is average, receives average numbers of positive and negative nominations for peers. So number 3 is neglected. So neglected is very seldom nominated as best friend, but is not really disliked. So when it calls so number 4, when it called rejected, infrequently nominated as best friends, one who is also disliked by peers. So last is number 5, controversial, is frequently nominated as best friends, but at the same time is disliked by peers. So let's talk about family. Family support is crucial at this stage, which characterized by success and failure. If children do not find a supportive family, then they find their interest, for example, in hobbies like riding a bike or playing a musical instrument, they can easily get frustrated. A high-quality adult relationship, especially family relationships, enables them to successfully go through this stage of development. So this is the last discussion I discussed to you is all about social development. The first is enjoyment, individual work, rotation of rules, cooperative work, independent responsibilities, problem-solving activities, leadership opportunities, fair play, shared expectation, and team culture. So this is the last discussion about the early childhood of preschoolers, and I hope that you can learn from I discussed to you, and God bless. Thanks for watching.